Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Heartful of Hallmark. We have a very special guest today. We're joined by Jake Foy. Thank you for coming on here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And we're here to talk about a majority of stuff. We're going to do a fun game of this or that to open it.
Great.
And it's very easy questions, just like general fun stuff. And then we're going to go into the new film, The Wish Swap, The Chicken Sisters, Confession of a Christmas Letter, Ride, and Eat, Drink, and Be Married. But first, I think we should start with a surprise because we told them before this that we had a surprise. And
you can save the surprise. I'm not telling you. It's your show. You're in charge.
Some people get a little bit nervous, but we like to throw a little bit of a curveball because these are fun. Someone wanted to say hello to you, so we got a hold of them and said, is there anything you would like to say to this person? And let's just say you'll know them the minute you see them. So let's just see this.
Hello from snowy Vancouver. Hi, Heartful of Hallmark podcast, and to one of my favorite stars, Jake Foy. I hope you guys are having a great interview. I'm sorry I couldn't join today, but I look forward to meeting you all in the future. I just want to pop in and say hi to Jake and to thank him for being the most wonderful co-star and dance partner. I can't imagine having done this movie with anyone but you, and I can't wait for the fans to see it because I think we made something really special. Anyways, I hope you're all having a great day.
Very fun. Emily has a direct line to me, so I can't imagine what you had to pay her to say those good things on camera.
All I did was ask. I'm like, would you want to say anything to him? And she sent that. I'm like, that's awesome. that's great.
Emily's very proactive. She's not leaving anything on the table. She's fantastic energy. That's very sweet.
We're having her on the 21st, so we're looking
to
forward that. We were going to surprise you with her being here, but she's currently busy.
Got it.
So that would have been the big surprise.
Working? She's working. Is she working right now? Maybe.
I'm not
sure.
Anyway, it looks like it's snowing in Vancouver. That's crazy. It does snow, but it's like it's for a very, very limited amount of time. That looked like a lot of snow in the background there. Holy, that's wild. Okay, well, hopefully, Emily, I hope you're warm wherever you are. I hope you're inside and warm.
So I think that should lead into the fun segment of this or that.
Great.
And this is just a general fun thing that we started on our last interview, and it went over really well. The fans loved it. She loved it. And we're just going to go right into the fun questions, and we're each going to ask one and just go back and forth until the very, very end of them.
Okay. Is there like a timer on, or should I have freedom to answer? I take your attention. Okay, perfect.
You're fine. So to start out, I'll ask you, would you rather film a movie in the winter or the summer?
See, I'm going to be bad at this or that because if it's the winter in a warm place, then the winter. And if it's the summer in a hot place, then the winter. It's like whatever is going to keep me from sweating or freezing. I love to be in that middle bracket.
That's kind of what we've gotten from everyone too.
Max comfort while working 14-hour days. That's what we need.
Well, we've heard from multiple people, whether a writer, an actor, or director. You're filming a Christmas movie in Canada. It's 95 degrees in June. So
yes. I can't do the Fahrenheit Celsius conversion by heart yet. So you have to forgive me, but I think that's like 33 degrees Celsius for the Canadian and European viewers. And it can be sweltering. It's because then you're wearing the parkas and the sweaters and the layers, and then someone is like running in between takes to blot sweat off your forehead. It can be degrading because you feel kind of like a sweaty pig for the whole day. That's okay.
Yeah. And for the next one, Kirsten.
Okay.
Hmm.
Would you rather be surprised with who your co-star is on set or find out before shooting?
You would never get the surprise answer. There would be no have you met an actor that said they would rather be surprised?
Yeah. Yep.
They're lying. They're lying to your face. There's just no way that that's the truth for that person.
No, it's probably a lot harder just because then sometimes you shoot the movie first, but sometimes you do the press photos first.
Right.
And then you meet there. So sometimes you can't be surprised.
Right. Yeah. I've never been surprised. I've been a surprise, I think, because I have been cast on a show after they started shooting, but no one was surprised that I was there. The fact that there was a recasting process, I think, was a little bit of a surprise to me as well, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Definitely. I want to know everything. I want all the details. I want to know all the heads of department. I want to know who's in charge of every facet of every production I ever worked on in advance. And I will Google their work and be prepared with opinions.
Would you rather film a movie in the US or in Canada?
Ooh. It's a season and it's a story thing. I know that's such a silly actor answer, but I would film in the Marianas Trench if the story was exciting. So it doesn't really, the location doesn't matter. It's nice to visit home in Canada, and I now live in Los Angeles, so I haven't shot here in LA. Not a lot shoots here, but it'd be nice to not have to leave here too. It depends on my mood. Right now, I'm really missing Vancouver because it's been a few months, and the food and culture there are fantastic. But it's cold and snowing, so I'm not racing back.
Oh, this one's a good one. Would you rather watch a rom-com or read a rom-com?
Definitely watch. Most of my reading lately has been either philosophy or I want to say biographies or autobiographies lately. I haven't been taking in a lot. All my fiction has been on screen, and all my reading has been nonfiction lately, which is not the best, but there's no right way to read. I think if you're picking up a book in the week, you're doing good. You're doing better than most.
Would you rather film a royal movie or a cooking movie?
What's a royal movie? Like subject matter?
Yeah. So say you're in like a big castle and you're the
definitely royal movie. Definitely a royal movie.
I think I would choose that too.
I was lucky enough to play King James in Reign on the CW for the finale of that show right before they wrapped. And that was very early in my career. And not much beats wearing a crown in front of a camera, I have to tell you. And cooking there's not a lot of eating and enjoying to cooking on camera. There's a lot of resetting and stopping and starting and like continuity. And that's not my favorite part of my job. Yeah. Stopping, starting, and resetting is not my favorite part of the job. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person that we spoke to, and he did a cooking movie, and he wasn't an actor or a writer, he was the director. And he went, so you know how people say they hate cooking movies? That was my favorite shoot I ever did, because it was understood that afterwards everything is done shooting. Instead, the food's just either thrown away or put someplace else. No. Afterwards, it went to him, and he got to eat all that fresh food after one take. And he said that was his favorite shoot ever.
Yeah, the actors are not saying yes to. I'm just giving you all the secrets. I sound so jaded at this moment, but the actors are not saying yes to as much food while they're working. It can just bog you down, and good, fresh culinary food. I feel like if we were doing like a Michelin star movie or something like The Menu or something, or the live action Ratatouille, yes, I'd be indulging in the food for sure. But generally, what has happened to the food to shoot food, it gets like spritzed with water, so it looks like it's dewy and fresh, and then it goes through different degrees of temperature so that it's most photogenic. And by the end of the day, generally, food is not as edible as it was when we started pointing a camera at it. So yeah. I'm still voting on the royal movie.
Awesome. Speaking of series, this is a great question because these are 2 long-running series, and they have massive fan bases that we know it. So
I'll be nervous. I don't know if I'll know them, but here we go.
Would you rather become a regular on Heartland or When Calls the Heart?
Great question. I know both only through friends who work on them, really. So I would actually, my partner and I bought a little house in Calgary when we were filming Ride, and I would love to be there full time to shoot for a bit. So that's going to be my answer. Heartland, I believe, still films there. And Alicia Newton, who was on that show, maybe still is a friend of ours and a client of my partner's as well. So that would be fantastic. Although Pascal was really, really lovely, and we share a love of music theater. She makes a little appearance in the Wish Swap. So maybe both. Let's say both. How's that?
This is a good question for your film and series career. Would you rather join a rodeo or work in a restaurant if you couldn't be an actor?
Oh man, that's a wild this or that. The life or death part of rodeo would depend on the role. But I've certainly spent enough hours in a restaurant to know that I don't need to go back if I can avoid it. It's fantastic fun for a time, but I think it would tire me out now. Or maybe I could work a lunch shift now and be okay with it. It's the nights. I don't want to work.
It's rough.
Yeah. You're gonna have to forgive the sound. My little dog is deciding to eat kibble 2 feet from this microphone. So that's what you're hearing, everyone.
You're fine. We love animals here. My dog barks all the time, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah. Great.
2 other big franchises that are outside of the realm of reality. So Kirsten.
Oh, so this one's a good one too. So would you rather be in a Star Wars movie or like a Marvel movie?
Definitely a Marvel movie, even though I know the audience is dwindling for the Marvel movies, it seems like. I wasn't raised on Star Wars. It just wasn't a thing. I don't have any dislike for it. I just don't have that like childhood nostalgia for it in the same way. And I think it'd be so much fun to do something in the MCU. The scale of that set would be huge. But my real franchise answer is I would love to do something in the Jurassic Park or World arena. That's the real dream. So this or that or that. The other that.
Well, I mean, we have a new one coming out, so there's always the next film.
Yes.
We're gonna throw that out there. Just throw that into the universe and cast Jake.
They're not going to slow down making them. So there's plenty of opportunity.
Yeah.
Going out of the filmmaking questions, this is just more of a general fun question. We're Christmas all year round here. We talk about Christmas movies, and they shoot literally all year round. It never stops. Mm-hmm. So what are some of your favorite Christmas movies to watch around that time?
That's so interesting. The first one that comes to mind is Die Hard. I know that's like sort of like countercultural for the Christmas movie genre. Four Christmases still makes me laugh with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. I'm trying to think of the classics that are. The Grinch Who Stole Christmas is still big on my list with Jim Carrey, the live action Grinch Who Stole Christmas. And what's up there? White Christmas is fun too, but it's been a long time since I've watched it and I can't remember it as well as I'd like. I think that's plenty, but I'm going to keep thinking because I feel like I'm missing something on this list.
We've gotten a lot of people that
There's an important one missing.
Some people have said Home Alone, Jingle All the Way.
Right. Jingle All the Way is great.
All
That's
the way.
great. Let's add that. That's fantastic.
And then the last question for this portion, I just wanted to ask this one because it's a big weekend here in the States. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
Are you a sports fan, or are sports not your thing? For everybody has a certain sport or a thing in a sport that they like. But are you a general sports fan, and do you have a team?
No team. No, I'm really not like. We don't have cable, like we don't have live cable, so we stream everything. We do have plans to watch the Super Bowl, but no team. I think I was raised on hockey mostly. Like we were a very hockey oriented household, but it's nothing that I like live or die by, honestly. And most of the things I was good at were like not team sports. Like I was a competitive swimmer and rower, but I don't watch those events. And now it's mostly like tennis and pickleball for leisure, and I try and lift a little bit of weight, but no, I don't like competing.
Yeah.
Like overall, like competition is, I like the arts as an industry because there's less competing. There is some, but it feels like less to me. It's one of the motivators for me loving my work, not feeling like I have to compete.
Yeah.
Crazy answer, but it's true.
And before we move on to the film talk with his films, we just got to say we're looking forward to football. It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
My team isn't in it. I'm fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
sounds
It's
fun.
okay. But fly, Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly. It's Saquon's time. It's his birthday. It's the Eagles' time to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs don't need a three-peat.
There you go. I will also, I guess this is a little moment to plug the football movie that I did a little moment ago for Tubi called Sideline, the QB and Me, that's just been greenlit for a sequel with Noah Beck. So congratulations to them. I'm a fan of a sports movie getting to do a sequel, apparently, but great.
I actually did have a question about that movie too. Like
Yeah.
I saw that they talked about like the sequel the other day, and I was so excited because I really love that movie, and Noah did such a good job with it being his first movie. And I was kind of wondering like if you like heard anything about it like before, like what you're looking forward to with the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they've announced and are working very quickly on the story and script. Nobody is at liberty to say who is coming back and who's not. And I'm not even sure if some of those decisions are fully finalized, but it's a huge testament to Noah's hard work, Sienna's hard work, the vision for integrating the social media market and the narrative story market at Tubi. They're doing fantastic things. And to director Justin Wu, whose first feature it was, and who was so kind as to bring me on. It was a really fantastic shoot, and Noah is a very hard worker. Sienna is an inspiration. I'm sure whatever they're going to do next is going to be as successful as the first.
Yeah.
So moving on to your stuff. You have a brand new film coming out very, very soon. As we're recording it, it's tomorrow. So what can you tell us about The Witch Swap? We got a little bit of a sneak peek in the video that there's some dancing in here. So what can you tell us about the story, and what was it like with Emily on set and on screen?
Emily's fantastic. I'll start by saying that we have totally yin and yang approaches to work, but in a way that ended up being very, very complementary. Hallmark has been very generous with me as of the past few years, and it was lovely of them to approach me with this particular material. I don't know that they knew that I had a background in music theater, but that's what I trained in. So singing and dancing is 10 years in the rear view as far as like formal education, but I got to do a little bit of singing on Ride, which was fantastic. And then for this, got to bring back some dancing skills. But other than like the sort of log line or elevator pitch of the story, it's a Freaky Friday type birthday wish swap. We don't swap bodies or personalities, but we do get each other's birthday wishes and then find ourselves dealing with the aftermath of that mix up and learning about each other in the process. And I think what Betsy Morris wrote is really, really fantastic. And the team at Muse Entertainment and the executives at Hallmark and Michael Barbuto, who produced, and David Strasser, who directed, really, really had a unified vision for how to make something believable and entertaining and that felt like theatrically relevant. You know, I had my Italian grandmother, I call Nona, but she's been passed for some time, but she loved a movie that Richard Gere was in, I think, and maybe even Susan Sarandon. It was called Shall We Dance anyway, and it had a sort of dance contest woven into a romantic plot. And this has some of those themes and story points as well. So I was really excited to do it. And I had never met Emily, even though we've overlapped in Vancouver on varying projects and with different contacts. So it just became a natural fit.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was really excited when I saw it. It kind of reminded me of Freaky Friday. And
okay.
Then, yeah, it really did. And then also seeing like some of the dance parts too, because we don't always get to see that with Hallmark. So did it take to like prepare that? Did you have to take dance lessons?
Yes. So I'm gonna butcher her last name, but Milena Rumelides, I think, or maybe. Let me actually check this in real time because there's no reason that I should. Melina Runis. I'm mixing up her name with another friend of mine, her last name with another friend of mine. But Melina choreographed everything. And in total, there's only really 4.5 or I'm spoiling it now, but I think we're airing tomorrow. So there's only really 4.5 minutes of dancing in the end. So that's not too stressful for me. Emily, who's very, very expressive about where she's confident and where she's uncertain all the time, which is fantastic to work with, had done less dancing and certainly on camera. So that was nice too, to feel like I was bringing something to the table that I had a bit of confidence in. And although Henry is not so much a dancer in the arc of the story, it was also fun for me to reverse engineer his journey from having 2 left feet to being competent in his dancing and to be a leader, not in any other sense of the word than in partner dancing, generally the men lead. And so it was nice to feel like I was able to bring that to our work together in rehearsal and on screen. And I'm really happy with how things turned out, actually.
That's awesome.
Is there any scene that you would like to spoil that's your favorite scene?
Really, really, really good question. I'm trying to think of what comes to mind. I think it has to be the meeting in the restaurant is very, very fun. The meet cute was very laborious to film, actually, because I don't know how familiar with film production you are, but essentially the standard is sort of to work from wide to tight in the shots and coverage. But there is a plot point that involves the cutting of and delivery of this grand birthday cake in varying stages of its like being eaten and completion. And we also had probably one of our biggest cast days because we had a restaurant full of people. All of Casey, Emily's co-workers are there, as well as all of my family, which included Molly Saunders and Jason Fernandez and the actors who played my parents and Matt Hamilton. And so we were really, really stacked full of people on a very, very full day. And the scene, it looks happy and pleasant, despite being a very frantic work day where everyone was, just trying to keep track of where our plates were, where the dessert was, what course of the meal we were in, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I'm most proud of that because it looks seamless, and that's to the great credit of David and the team. But it was quite the day, quite the day.
So speaking of Matt, we've had him on.
Great.
Matt Hamilton is probably one of my favorite interviews that I've done. He is honest. He's great. He's the most genuine human being I've ever met.
He's very sweet. So
what was he like to work with on set?
I should answer how Matt would answer. And
yes.
I don't know what I'm allowed to say on this podcast, but Matt would be like, "Oh, total shithead, worst guy, couldn't stand him, like barely talked to me, wouldn't make eye contact." No, Matt is funny because when you haven't worked with Matt before, which I had not before this project, he's sort of like, is American Dad the name of that other Family Guy show? He's kind of like American Dad, and he says everything that comes to mind, and it's big and loud and sincere, but his heart is equally big and loud and sincere. It's very, very funny to have those two things exist in tandem. So when I first met Matt, I was like, oh, this is going to be the type of character where I'm not sure that we'll be oil and water or not, but Matt and I were thick as thieves, and I'd work with him again in a second. And I think that's part of why Matt is so busy. He really makes work a party, and it's effortless for him. So that's all there is. I can't say more about Matt without being negative and ironic, because that's what he does best. But I wouldn't even try and match his skill at it. He's very good at it.
When I first talked to him, I'm like, dude, this is gonna be my best interview. Every single question, it just got better and better and better. And when I had him on, before we had our new Instagram, we had an old page. Okay. So with the Hallmark page, the Hallmark viewers aren't really normally our age.
Right.
It's a lot of older women. And one woman went, why is he swearing?
I didn't say that. You said that, You spoke those words.
Yeah.
Oh, just for the record.
Oh yeah, she got so mad at us for not knowing that he was gonna swear, and I'm like, I can say whatever he wants. I mean, right. Completely uncensored.
Oh yeah, you just let Matt riff. There was no way you were gonna get. Yeah, exactly. You got what you got.
Yep. and that's what I wanted.
Funny how many of the personalities that you encounter on the heart of television are not as squeaky clean as you might imagine from seeing them on the other end of an edit and coloring and the oversight of Crown Media. So it's it's a funny thing when that happens. But I'm glad they got to know the real Matt. They should love Matt for who he is.
I got to talk to him. Kirsten, we're gonna have him on soon. I have to reach out to him again, but when you meet him, he is one of the most genuine people, and you just gotta let Matt be Matt. He's the most genuine. Say anything he wants, and I can't say anything about it because that's what I want.
Yeah, be careful. You can't give Matt a longer leash because he'll take it. He'll totally take it.
I let him go. He went on and went, now Die Hard is an effing Christmas movie, damn it. And
okay. Oh, he picked Die Hard too.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Did he suggest Jingle All the Way?
Yes. Yep.
He said that too?
And I think Becky Dalton maybe.
Okay,
Becky Dalton,
because that's really up there on the list. So, and I wouldn't have pulled it. It was not kind of gonna come to my mind. So, thank you.
He got so excited. I mean, so excited. I asked that, and his face went, oh. He shook his hands and he went, I want to ask if this counts because sometimes it doesn't. I'm like, is it Die Hard? He turns the computer around. He has this big poster right behind him of just Die Hard. And he goes, this is the best Christmas movie of all time. And you can't tell me otherwise. And if so, you are wrong.
He's also worked with a lot of like heavy hitting talents over the course of his career. He's so humble and approachable, but this is becoming the Matt Hamilton interview.
I know,
You're gonna have to send this to him. He's got to use this on some kind of work application. He doesn't have, I'm like, how does that work though? You wouldn't use it in audition. Maybe you can cut it together, right?
Yeah.
Do self-promotion on social media, cut all my answers together.
And then we all three get all the royalties off of it. No.
Yeah. Royalties. It would be you. You guys would get it. You'd have to take him to court. He'd love that. I would love going to trial for anything. Yeah. He'd be great at jury duty as well. You know?
He'd pick them out and go, this is them, and I know why, and I know how.
Yeah. He'd end up charged with a crime in his own right, but we'll figure out how that happens later.
Yeah. But should we move on to the other things?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I know that Kirsten has a lot of questions for this particular one, so I'm gonna let her just off the leash for it. We're gonna talk about the Chicken Sisters. What do you want to know about the Chicken Sisters?
Okay, I really enjoyed this series, and I was kind of wondering what it was like to work with Leah Thompson and also have Wendy Malick too, because they are both like iconic actors.
They are done a lot. Chicken Sisters was so interesting because I was brought on relatively late to Chicken Sisters with there's this anyway. Story there, but there's not a story for me to tell. But I arrived at the Chicken Sisters relatively late, and one of my first days was actually with Leah Thompson, and she was so approachable and relaxed, which you would be at such an established point in your career, but we didn't get to overlap much more for the rest of the season. So I wish I had more to tell you about that. I spent more time with Wendy, who is very, very, very mellow and cool. And I grew up on episodes of Just Shoot Me, and The Emperor's New Groove is one of my favorite movies of all time. So working with Wendy was really, really surreal because I was doing more with Wendy than with others in the cast, but it was such an ensemble piece that I was really not there all that often. And I'm this is not the answer you want, but I was also in the process of moving internationally. So I was like packing my life up and doing a lot of administrative paperwork to be stateside at that time. So it was last spring and summer that we shot season 1. So it was sort of like one of those things, I guess I maybe should say that I took for granted, and that it was happening, but I was so busy around it that I don't even remember it clearly. It like came and went so quickly, you know. But like some of my like favorite moments were with Andrew J. Hampton, who plays my partner on that show, and Caitlin Howden is a Vancouver local, and she's hilarious. And I had some time with Hector Rivera as well, who's just like a lovely, lovely family man. So congratulations to Chicken Sisters on I think they're officially doing more, if you haven't already.
Oh, okay. That's exciting.
You know, it's whatever. I think it's well, I'm in trouble. That's fine. I think they're doing more is not they're doing more. I think so. And I know, and I actually know nothing with certainty. So there's that. I thought I read something. Oh, you know what? That's what it is. There's a press release out there that's made up and written by AI that has a bunch of not true information, but I did read it. So that was where that nugget comes from.
Yeah.
Backtracking, but I do know that article is out there and you can find it for yourself, and it has it's full of errors, but it does make it look official.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I wanted to ask too was, did you know that Margot Martindale was going to be the narrator of the show?
No, I know all the names that were options before. There were conversations, and Margot was always in the mix, but very, very cool. I am a huge fan of August Osage County on film, and I also love this very niche, like short comedy series called Sticky that's like based in Canada. Yeah, okay. And Margot Martindale is in that, and she's fantastic in that. And it's like, it's just one of those like weird things that is Canadiana, but has a lot of Americans attached. I think Jamie Lee Curtis produced on that as well.
Yeah,
and it's my producing partner, Curtis Brown, that brought it to me and was like, you should totally look at this. And I was like, that's funny. I am in theory on a show with Margot Martindale, but we never crossed paths. I think it'd be lovely if she made a cameo at some point.
I think that would be really neat too. Yes.
If there's more of the show, if she's available, I mean, there's that first line of the series that's like, I'm only nearly omniscient. And I'm like, I still don't know exactly what that means. In all transparency, I'm like, well, what does that mean? And who is she? And will we care? And similar to the whole Gossip Girl thing, are we going to have some kind of like weird unraveling where she never appears? And it's, even though it's a female voice, maybe it's me. You know what I mean? Maybe like, because Gossip Girl was Kristen Bell's voice, and then there's no sense, and then it was like Badgley or Dan Humphrey.
It was Dan, yes.
Yeah, and it didn't. I loved that show at the time, and now you watch it, and we have questions. But it would be funny because Kenneth still has no last name. Actually, that's my big thing, and I'll say it here in public. If I were to go back to Chicken Sisters or be invited back, or if there's even more, I think we need to know what Kenneth's last name is. That's a big thing.
Noah, did you want me to do one more for this one?
Sure. What do you want?
Okay.
You're not asking me.
Sorry, and you too.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Do as many as you want.
This one's kind of for all the fans. So I know some people were like Team Sergio or Team Frank Jr. So which team are you on?
Great question. I mean, Kenneth is definitely on Team Sergio.
That's how I feel too. Your characters.
It's funny. Are there a lot of people that are Team Frank Jr.? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I feel like
I'm gonna say Team Frank Jr. just to be difficult. Like, because he's actually, he really is industrious, and he has what it takes. I'm Team Mr. Chicken at this point, actually.
Yeah.
That's my new POV. I want the strongest opposition to those sisters that's possible, because that's going to make for the best television.
Yes.
The better Mr. Chicken is at his job, the harder that journey is going to be, and that means more seasons and more entertainment. So that's the right answer, I think.
No, that's a good answer.
If the sisters are too good, there's nothing interesting to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the other series, because since we're in the series,
we're good.
We'll move into Ride. So this is going to be a free-for-all, because I'm a little angry that Ride did not get a second season.
Oh, join the club.
There was no reason why. I mean, we were begging for it. We got it on the CW. It did great in ratings.
I thought the CW was going to make another season.
Y'all have to start a petition. You have to. We keep in touch. I'll tell you that one of the crazy things about Ride is, the Ride cast is getting together to watch the Super Bowl. The Ride cast gets together to have drinks on the weekend. The Ride cast looks out for each other. It's still, years later, and with only one season under our belt. So that was a really, really, really special thing for me. And I can't speak for anyone else, but the the way we've kept in touch and the way that we've stayed personal friends is unique. It's definitely unique.
My first question with Ride is, did you have to learn how to ride a horse for Ride? Mm-hmm. And was there any training leading to it? If you didn't know how to ride, was it harder?
We were on a ranch in rural Alberta, about an hour outside of downtown Calgary. And of course, in the audition, I said I had ridden before, which I had, you trail ride as a kid, but I was like, that's enough for me to say yes. And I'm still proud of the fact that I took to riding very naturally. This was sort of a running joke among the cast because I hadn't really done it before. And I think the month we had to prepare together, which ended up only being a few weeks, I was directing something at the time. For me, I arrived late and took to it naturally. And I'm still very proud of it because it can be quite scary, to be on an animal that size and with an opportunity for work where if you were to be injured or something before we started shooting, you would have been at no fault of the network or anyone, you would have been replaced. It would just be impossible to start that machine of money spending and hiring people and then to not continue on to shoot. So it was nerve-wracking to be learning in real time and then also know if something happened to you that it could delete the opportunity that we had all just fallen into. But it came very naturally and I love riding. I would love to own a horse of my own, but it was great to have a team of wranglers there with us full time. So because we were on the ranch and we would be filming practically in different areas, there were times where if we had like breaks in the day, instead of going back to our trailers, you could go and work with the horse wranglers and do some more riding in the afternoon instead of relaxing. So it was a really, really cool integrated environment. And all of the people that work on those shows that shoot in Alberta have a lot of riding and rodeo experience. So we got to be immersed in it full time. And there was also a very bad cell reception where we were shooting. So it wasn't like we were, tempted by Instagram and TikTok. We really got to look at each other's eyes and get to know each other's opinions and do some really cool hands-on stuff with all of the livestock and professionals that were there. It was fantastic. Mm-hmm.
It was such a beautiful, the scenery was amazing in that show.
Mm-hmm. Everyone was great. I think we were all perfectly cast too. I have nothing but good things to say about it. And I secretly wish they would do more. It's really a miss. There was just so much more story to tell, I think.
I know, that's how I feel too. I feel like we need to know more of Marcus Rosner's character's background.
Oh, Marcus is a gem too.
Yeah. And the other question I had too is, since you've done that show, have you become a fan of rodeo?
Yeah, you start when you're doing research for these kind of projects, you end up immersed in weird corners of the internet. There's not a ton to have learned about chicken frying, but there was a lot to learn about rodeo. And we would go to the local rodeos on weekends where there was international competition, et cetera, or learning about what a farrier does. I still follow a few. It's so satisfying to watch horses.
Yeah.
It's one of those internet things that's really, really hard to unfollow. But it is something that you don't know you care about until you care about it, and then it's really hard to unlearn that because it's such a family environment, and it's hands-on. It's so hard to find things to do with people you care about that take you out of the digital world, and rodeo is one of those things.
And did you also have to practice the perfect Southern accent?
Yeah, that was really funny because that was one of the things that was where we were geographically was really in flux. And there were varying degrees of it. And Sarah's character had come and gone from Texas and New Mexico. And then we were sort of in the Rockies, but there is sort of there's a Midwestern lilt almost to that whole Colorado and mountain area that's not that doesn't feel quite Southern, but it has like there's a placement in the mouth that's like from like breathe, like for the way you kind of like take in air while you're out there in the dust and dirt all the time. You don't let your mouth get as like wide and expressive because of how much stuff's like flying around, and the squint kind of comes from that too. It's like just keeping stuff out of your eyes, nose, and ears. But we had the least amount of time with that part of the preparation, honestly. And so the sound that I landed on for Tough McMurray was kind of my best amalgamation of all of what I was hearing at the table read. Like I was like, okay, I'm hearing this. And Tough was very much at the center of all those plots, right? A lot of what happened on that show was my discovering this backstory or this letter or this clue, even though I wasn't like central to the love triangle or whatever. So yeah, that's how that came to pass.
Really neat.
Yeah.
And now I think we go into the fan questions. So let's go into the fan questions. Sure. We had one special person who wanted to ask you just a few things. So what did she have to ask?
Okay. No, did you want me to do the ones that my mom had or the other one?
Whichever ones you want to do.
So I guess I'll start out with the one that my mom had because it was about Ride. So she wanted to know like what your musical background was and that she enjoyed listening to you sing and Ride. And will we be hearing you sing in any upcoming roles?
Thanks, Mom. That's really nice to ask. Great question. I trained in music theater at Sheridan College in Oakville, which is sort of outside Toronto area in Canada. And that was very lucky because I was fortunate enough to work on the original workshops of Come From Away, which ended up going to Broadway, which is very rare for something from Canada. And there are some musical initiatives on my own slate that involve my own singing, but nothing at the moment. Although there are ideas that we're bringing to market where I'd be singing on camera, which would be great. You'll get to hear a little more of it in snippets as far as like preview. And for Ride, I was raised with country music in the household. So that's probably the number one genre in my house growing up. There wasn't really as much like Beatles and classic rock or even like pop music as there was country music. So it was really nice to bring my vocal training back to a sound that I knew instinctively. And then all of the guitar I had a coach on that show named Mason. Mason Jenkins, I think. Jenkins, the last name. Should have been prepared with these answers. But Mason was fantastic. And so all of the like chording and playing is probably the biggest challenge that I face. The singing is fine, but keeping the chord patterns for the coverage, but you also can't actually play them when there's also dialogue, and almost all of the musical scenes had dialogue happening while I was singing. So I'd have to go into the booth and pre-record the audio, and then we would record on-set audio and layer it all together. So it was a really fantastic crash course in music for the camera. But I had most of my directing and creative projects have been movie musical shorts until this point. So I have some familiarity, more than the average actor, about how to plan for sound engineering. Yeah. So that's another thing where I felt, lucky to be doing it, very, very lucky to be doing it, and confident I was bringing knowledge to the table that made the day smoother for everybody that was working.
Mm-hmm. No,
that was both parts of the question, right?
Yeah, that was. No, yeah. That was the answer. It covered everything.
Never know.
No, do you want to ask the one that Annie had?
I don't have it.
Okay. I have it on mine too. So Annie, she has a blog where she like posts different things about Hallmark movies called lovetvmovies.ca. She's in Canada. Mm-hmm. And she was so excited. She was like, finally a Canadian actor is here. We get to talk to him. She had a question about the Confessions of a Christmas Letter, and she said it was so different than a typical Hallmark movie, and she'd love to hear your take on it and what it was, and what was it like filming with like all the chaotic stuff that happened in the movie, and do you have any fun like behind the scenes stories?
Yeah. Well, art imitates life, Kirsten. It really does. It that was in the summer of last year, but we were fortunate in that we got like rain and cloud cover, so it ended up being a weird pocket of cold temperature in the summer. So I'm still grateful for that because we were so bundled up. I am not, again, you're gonna have to wipe this whole interview, but I didn't know The Office as well as most people. So I was not starstruck by Angela, except for the fact that obviously she's a household name and people love her. And it was so nice to meet her as Angela the person and then make myself familiar with more of The Office, because she was just so friendly and down to earth. And we met actually boarding the plane from LA because I had moved by that point. So by boarding the plane to Vancouver, I was like, I think you're playing my mom. And when I really should have said, I think I'm playing your son. She's like so central to the plot, right? Me making myself the center of the story. I'll slap myself on the wrist. But I was like, I think you're playing my mom. We should totally get to know each other. But I had worked with the director, Heather Hawthorne Doyle, on Eat, Drink, and Be Married. And so Ride is the only project that we're talking about today that I had to audition for. The rest have been incoming calls, and I will puff my chest to say that because I think it's very difficult to have as many opinions as I have and still be a nice enough person to be invited to work with people. So that's something that I'm going to give myself credit for because it's a tough business to do that in. But it felt very comfortable because I was returning to Heather's domain, where that was the first place that I'd ever been a romantic lead for a TV feature. And that made it all the more comfortable. Everybody was new on that set. Mom, played by, I think it's, oh my God, I'm going to find her name. I think it's Barbara Pollard.
Yes.
It is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Why am I thinking Barb? Anyway, Barbara Pollard and I got along like nobody's business. So we hung out the whole time, and there weren't really antics except that the family was working the whole time. And it's just a lot of people and a lot of age groups and a lot of bathroom breaks and a lot of snack breaks and a lot of props and a lot of Christmas. So it was everything was like the rain I mentioned to you. Then we were in the onesies, and then of course the onesies are very water absorbent. So
I actually want to know if you got to keep the onesies.
I did not get to keep the onesie. I don't think I have any. Normally I leave a show with a couple shirts or sweaters, and I usually get permission, but I don't think I have. But I run warm, so I have no use for a polyester Amazon onesie. I will sweat through that thing in 3 minutes. So fortunately, we were mostly outside, but I had trench foot whenever we were in the onesies. I was soaked, but it was really, really fun to work with everybody in that family, and I think that's kind of that. There's no and. There's no and. I wanted there to be an and, but there's not. It whizzed by. It was like I think I worked 5 days on that, which is not a lot.
Yeah.
And then for the final film that we're going to briefly talk about, just because this is me, I love this film.
Okay.
This was where I'm like, wait a minute, these two have great chemistry, and both of them have become massive stars at you and Jocelyn. So Eat, Drink, and Be Married. How was this on set, and how did you approach this as your first TV rom-com?
Fantastic question. Jocelyn had been very seasoned at that point. Mm-hmm. So I knew of Jocelyn through friends, and she had been working nonstop. And I think she's on Chicago.
Oh yeah, she is on one of them. Yeah.
She's on Chicago Fire. She's on Chicago. Anyway, she's Jocelyn is like a primetime star that works her butt off. And I came, my most recent work was little guest starring things or recurring, and I was still doing theater contracts at the time. So I was coming to work with like, my dramaturgical analysis of what I was going to do and where the beats were going to be and what the arc of the whole thing was. And there was also some darker tones to that script, which didn't end up in the edit, but Dad was not doing well. And also the stakes of a brother's engagement falling apart are not like super lighthearted, if I may say. So I got the note Happier and Handsomer a lot on that shoot, where they wanted things to feel more romantic and bubbly. But I'm really proud of how it landed. I was glad to have fought for my choices on that movie. And Jocelyn's approach to the workflow taught me so much. So I was learning in real time about how to bring spontaneity and fun to scenes that I didn't necessarily see that on my first read or just from the amount that we were taking on. There was a really, really, really lengthy script for 12 days of shooting and a reduced budget relatively. But maybe it's me. I don't know. But Jocelyn, I spoke to Jocelyn 48 hours ago too. Like, we still keep in touch. I have been lucky to be cast opposite some good, hardworking people that want to do right by every job they say yes to. And I think Eat, Drink, and Remarried would be a fantastic equal to that, where maybe there's some vow renewals, maybe there's an almost divorce. I don't know. That never happens on Hallmark. But I don't know did that air on, that didn't air on the Hallmark Channel.
No.
It was like, yeah.
That was a film that was bought by Up TV.
Yep.
But still, it's adjacent.
It's adjacent, but not adjacent enough. So I think that's how Hallmark probably caught wind of my name at all. But I can't thank Jocelyn enough. She was so patient with my approach and complimentary of how diligent I'd been. And I think in almost all these cases where the on-screen chemistry works, it's actually because the actors are bringing two different perspectives to the table in the first place. Like, they have different priorities. Emily is very, very academic in a way that I used to be, about the genre and her work and her arc in it and the math of what makes sense. And I had, kind of worked from the inside and a character perspective for Henry to be a bit more relaxed. I didn't even get a haircut before I went to work because I wanted everything to just feel a little less shiny and polished than what I would usually bring to the table, because that felt appropriate for Henry. And so I try and use every contract as an opportunity to kind of come to the work with the same, not in a method way, but with the same view of the world as the character that I'm championing. And that has helped me on these tighter timelines. You don't get to do Christopher Nolan's shoot schedule on these particular projects. So if you're coming to your workday in the spirit of the character, it makes it easier to come in and out. And another part of this process that you haven't quite asked about, but feels relevant to this, is part of my character development is always casting someone I know from my life as like a source. So my partner's brother is a dairy farmer in Vermont and has some Henryisms about his shrugging, hands in pocket, closed mouth, kind of like meekness and his sort of like bristling warmth seemed perfect. So for that, I brought that to the table. For Tough McMurray, I brought a little bit of my dad's stubborn ruthlessness. So these things help the chemistry for me, because before we even start working together, there's a removal of me, the hired actor, and the artist and character, where I can live a little more while we work. Is that too much answer for that? It's just been so long that reflecting on it is really interesting, because I was so, I was so nervous to take on that contract. I had never done that many pages per day, that many days in a row with someone who had done it so many times. And, like anything new, you want to do right by the people that brought you on board. And without Heather, without Jocelyn, without Sam Mewick and Sydney Scotia, who I'm also still friends with, there wouldn't have been a sleeper adjacent hit with Eat, Drink, and Be Married. And also that was director Heather's first TV movie. So in a very short period of time, to be directing someone with American stardom like Angela Kinsey and the number of other talents she's worked with, or David, who directed The Wish Swap, who is going to do theatrical features for the cinema, mark my words. It's just been a very, very lucky series of opportunities for me.
And with that, everybody, I only got one more question, and I got to ask this. I ask everybody, when you have a new project coming out, would you want to come back on and talk about it?
Of course.
Awesome. And can you tease anything down the pipeline that you have shooting soon, or something that might be airing soon? Is there anything in the pipeline that you could tease without getting in trouble?
No, there isn't. But the musical short that I directed is in consideration for the Canadian Screen Awards, and is streamable on Prime Video in the US, United Kingdom, and on Broadway HD. It's called More Together. And if you want to know a little bit more about what I do that's not in front of the camera, you can go there and enjoy that 40-minute movie musical.
And this has been great. Check it out tomorrow on Hallmark Channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, The Wish Swap. Check it out. You can also record it on Friendly, and it'll be there on Hallmark Plus the very next morning.
You got it.
And we have one more little surprise. And it is, did you know this one little joke? There's one character that I personally love, and this has become a running joke on my channel. What is the one thing that comes to mind when you think of the film Billy Madison?
Just the name Adam Sandler.
Okay. Well, did you know this?
Miss Lippy's car is green.
I didn't know.
No. For some reason, everybody loves that joke. Whenever I bring that out, I don't understand why. It's the dumbest thing ever, but it gets a reaction like none other. So
I don't remember it. I feel like I've not known any of the cultural references, including the titles I've been in and people I've worked with for this whole interview. This is going to be used as blackmail against me.
But we will have you on many, many more times, and we might ask you for a little bit of a snippet for Emily, because she might like that too. But for next time, everybody, I am Noah. This is Kirsten, and as always, keep your heart full of Hallmark.